Hey y'all, TC Tree here again with some more BT16 ruling. This is a part 2, so if you didn't watch part 1, I'd encourage you to go back and do that, just because some of these rulings build upon understandings of some of the previous ones, and because there's a lot of good stuff to know in there as well. This video will cover more constructed focus rulings, as well as go into detail about the new big secret rares of the set, Magnamon and Rapidmon X-Antibody. Before we get started, I did want to shout out Alex, aka Emiya, on the Bandai Organized Play Discord. He's a fellow level 1 judge who helped compile some of these rulings, as well as double check everything across the two videos. He was a big help with the videos, and all of us judges at the Bandai Organized Play Discord are always willing to help with any other Digimon questions you watching at home might have. So please don't hesitate to join the Discord and ask away. But without further ado, let's just get into it. Our next ruling is going to focus on the new BT16 Tankdramon, and specifically its on play when digivolving effect, which reads, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and for each D-Brigade or Digi-Police trait card among them, reduce the play costs of all of your opponent's Digimon by 1 until the end of their turn. Return the revealed cards to the top or bottom of the deck, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a playcost of 4 or less. So this is the first time we're seeing ways to reduce the playcost of your opponent's Digimon in Digimon. Folks coming into Digimon from One Piece card game might be familiar with this sort of effect, especially with leaders and cards like Gekko Moria and Sakazuki are running around. But this is the first time we're seeing something like this in Digimon. So what happens in the usual cases? So let's say our opponent has a Metal Garurumon Ace on their side of the field, which has a playcost of 6. We're going to play out our Tankdramon, which will trigger its on-play effect. So we'll go ahead and activate that. We'll reveal the top 3 cards of our deck. And we'll see we have 2 matches for Tankdramon's effect. We have Metropolitan Police Department, Community Safety Bureau, Cyber Crimes Division, Investigation Unit 11 Digimon Crime Response Team option card, which has the Digi-Police trait, and the new Chaosmon from BT16, which has the D-Brigade trait. So that means all of our opponent's Digimon are going to get -2 to their play cost, and then we're going to put these to the bottom in any order, and then finish off the effect by deleting a play cost 4 or less. And so now that the Metal Garurumon Ace's 6 play cost has been reduced to 4, we can delete it with Tankdramon. That'll be deleted, and then overflow will be processed, and you'll have more memory for that turn. So that's all well and good, but how does this change when we have something like Psychmon on the opponent's side of the field? And Psychmon reads, all turns, players can't reduce play cost. So let's see what happens when we play our Tankdramon in this case. So we're going to play our Tankdramon. Again, we're going to reveal our top 3 cards. We still have the Chaosmon and the Metropolitan Police Department, Community Safety Bureau, Cyber Crimes Division, Investigation Unit 11 Digimon Crime Response Team option card. So we're going to reduce the play cost of all of our opponent's Digimon by 3. We're going to put those to the bottom again. The Metal Garurumon Ace is now going to be a 4 play cost. So we're going to delete that with our Tankdramon, and overflow is going to happen again. So why didn't Psychmon stop Tankdramon from reducing our play costs? So this actually has less to do with Tankdramon itself and more to do with a translation quirk of Psychmon and other floodgates like it. So in the original Japanese it's more clear, but Psychmon and friends only actually stop the reduction of play costs for while you're playing them. So and Tankdramon only affects the play costs of Digimon that are already played and in the battle area. So they actually don't interact at all. So even if you had a Tankdramon and all of your opponent's Digimon get play cost -2. If your opponent were to try and play a Psychmon after that, they would still have to pay the 3 memory to play the Psychmon, and then once the Psychmon is in the battlefield, now its play cost is reduced to 1 for any other effects that care about play cost. So up until now, that distinction in the translation hasn't really mattered, and so that's why it hasn't been changed. But now that we have something like Tankdramon, and we might see effects like this in the future, we might get an Errata for Psychmon and other similar effects, but we just don't know. So keep an eye out for that in case. But even if we don't get an Errata for the English version, we still go by the original Japanese text. So even if there's no Errata, this will still be how it plays out. Psychmon isn't going to interact with Tankdramon in any way.
Hey everyone, TC Tree from the future here. It's after the set has been out in pre-release for a little while, but we've just found a translation issue with the new BT16 Tankdramon. So currently the card says the play cost reduction will last until the end of the opponent's turn. However, the original Japanese says that it only lasts until the end of the current turn. This can particularly matter for situations like hitting a DCD bomb in security, or for some Digipolice inheritables that care about play cost. So just to be clear, there has not been an official English errata that's been announced, but the cards must be played according to their original Japanese text. So Tankdramon's play cost reduction will only last through the current turn.
Alright, so also in BT16, Ukkomon and Louie are back, and I know everyone's really excited to see Ukkomon get some more play. But in addition to the new Ukkomon, we now have BigUkkomon. And there are a few new edge cases that come up with them, with the new Louie and the new BigUkkomon, because they allow you to play Digimon to the breeding area directly. There are some of these that came up with the Devas and the Dark Masters before, but those are still relatively new, so I just wanted to go over the basics of those rulings here as well. So the first one obviously is that if you use effect like BigUkkomon's, return a Digi-Egg to the bottom of your deck and play a level 4 to the breeding area. If you're playing something to the breeding area, effects can't trigger any in there, so you won't get any on-play effects like this Darugomon, and anything that triggers off a Digimon being played won't be able to see this Darugomon being played. However, floodgates like Pillowmon and Pomumon will stop you from playing the Digimon to the breeding area. And that's because it's not actually affecting the breeding area specifically, it's affecting your ability as a player. So even though you're playing to the breeding area, you're still not able to play because you're not able to play at all. Pomumon and Pillowmon are just stopping you. Additionally, if you play BigUkkomon to the breeding area with BT16 Louie, and then move it out of the breeding area with something like Promo Louie's effect, that BigUkkomon won't be able to attack. And that's because while usually we think when you're moving to the breeding area, to the battle area, you're able to attack, that's because that Digimon hasn't been played. So usually what happens is you have an egg, that egg is hatched, and then you evolve on top of it, and then you move into the battle area. So none of those actions involve playing a Digimon, and so since this Digimon wasn't played this turn, it can still attack. However, even though we're playing the BigUkkomon to the breeding area, it is still being played. So we play the BigUkkomon to the breeding area, and then we move it to the battle area, but since it was still played this turn, it can't attack this turn, no matter where it was played. And then finally, one new interaction with BigUkkomon is that since you can play any level 4 or lower Digimon, you can now play Digimon with Digicross to the breeding area. Yay! But this works how it usually does, thankfully. So when you play a Digimon with Digicross to the breeding area, you're still able to use material in your hand to reduce the play cost, and you're able to take material that's already in the battle area, and when you play that to the breeding area, you're able to use that as material as well. This might seem a little bit unintuitive because card effects aren't able to affect the breeding area, but remember again that Digicross isn't a card effect, it's a game mechanic, so you're still able to use all of the parts of Digicross because it's a game mechanic in the breeding area. So you're still able to get things from the battle area and things from your hand when you're playing out with BigUkkomon. Alright, so our next ruling dealing with MagnaAngemon line has less to do with MagnaAngemon itself and more to do that it previously makes an obscure situation with some kind of effects a little bit more likely. So we've got our setup here. We've got our Angemon, our Lady Devamon, a Mastemon in hand. We've got our MagnaAngemon chilling in the trash, and we've got a /Angemon here in our security ready to go. So we're going to put that face down, and we're going to DNA Digivolve into our starter deck Mastemon. And that's going to trigger Mastemon's when Digivolving effect to place one yellow or purple Digimon from your hand or from your trash on top of your security tech face down. And then when DNA Digivolving, you can search your security stack for a level 5 or lower Digimon card and play it without paying its memory cost. And then we'll shuffle our security stack. And so at this point, we have two effects that have triggered. Our MagnaAngemon's on play when Digivolving effect has triggered to go Digivolve into the /Angemon that we know is in our stack. And we also have the all turns effect of Mastemon that is triggered. For when you play another Digimon using an effect, delete one of your opponent's Digimon whose level is less than or equal to the played Digimon's level. So now we get to choose what order these effects resolve, or what order these effects are activated. So if we choose to activate Mastemon's first, we're going to delete a level 5 or lower since our MagnaAngemon is a level 5. And then we're going to use MagnaAngemon's on play to Digivolve into the /Angemon for 2 less, and then go from there. However, what happens if we decide to Digivolve with our MagnaAngemon first? So we're going to activate our MagnaAngemon's effect. We're going to search our security tech for a level 6 with Angel or 3 Great Angels. We find one. We're going to Digivolve for 2 or less. And then, once that finishes, we're going to go activate Mastemon's effect, which says delete one of your opponent's Digimon whose level is less than or equal to the played Digimon's level. So even though /Mon is now a level 6 Digimon, the Digimon that was played was initially a level 5. And so we've gotten rulings from Bandai directly on this, that Mastemon will only be able to delete a level 5 or lower still in this case. So it's looking back at what the Digimon looked like when it was played, since it's referencing the played Digimon's level. Alright, and now's the part of the video where I would be going over all of the various Magnamon X rulings and interactions, and potentially make this video twice as long as it already is. But thankfully, between getting the idea for this video and finding time to actually make it and script it and record it, DigiPanda went and made a really helpful video laying out a lot of the interactions with Magnamon X-Antibody and how they work, and additionally some ways to counter Magnamon X-Antibody. And I've got a link in the doobly-doo for you to check it out after this video, but I did want to briefly cover a common question I'm seeing that he didn't cover. So Magnamon X-Antibody is the very first 3-color Digimon to be released. And while you're looking for effects that might be able to search it or apply to it or affect it in any ways, just be sure to read them carefully. If the effect mentions 2 or more colors, like Fire Rocket does, it will affect Magnamon X-Antibody, since 3 colors is 2 or more. However, most effects mention, quote, 2- color specifically, like BT8Vmon when it's searching, and that will not be able to search and grab Magnamon X-Antibody because it is a specifically 3-color Digimon. It is not a specifically 2-color Digimon. In fact, this is the reason why you can't digivolve one Magnamon X-Antibody on top of another Magnamon X-Antibody, because while it does have the Magnamon in name requirement, it does meet that requirement, it is 3-color, so it doesn't meet the 2-color requirement in its Digivolution requirements. Next, I want to go over this set's 2 secret rare Digimon. And so first we're going to start off with the Rapidmon X-Antibody. Most complicated issues with the Rapidmon X-Antibody are going to arise from its all turns effect, which reads, while Rapidmon or X-Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, all of your opponent's suspended Digimon get minus 4,000 DP. And so since this is a persistent global DP minus effect, and it depends on whether the opponent's Digimon are suspended or unsuspended, it's going to start applying and stop applying at a lot of strange times, which can bring up some edge cases that you might not be familiar with. So let's go with an example to get a better understanding. So we're going to start out with your opponent has a Rapidmon with a Rapidmon X-Antibody with its all turns turned on because it has X-Antibody's Digivolution, and you've got 2 EX4 Antilamon on your side of the field. So to start, we're going to attack security with one of our Antilamon. So immediately that means our Antilamon is going to get the minus 4,000 DP, and it's going to be attacking as a 4,000 DP attacker. But that's also going to trigger the alliance on the Antilamon. So we can use the other Antilamon to alliance with it. And when we suspend the Antilamon to alliance, again, it's going to immediately get the minus 4,000 DP. So when alliance checks the DP to give to Antilamon, it's going to see this Antilamon has 4,000 DP, so it's going to give 4,000 DP to the original Antilamon that we're attacking with. So ultimately, in this scenario, we're going to have our Antilamon is attacking for 8,000 DP with 2 security checks. And so let's go through a different scenario, except what happens now if instead of the second Antilamon, we have a ST17 Lopmon here. So again, we're going to see this situation where we're going to attack with our Antilamon. It's going to immediately get the minus 4,000 DP and trigger Alliance. And so when we go to activate Alliance, we are going to suspend Lopmon. It's going to immediately get the minus 4,000 DP. It's not going to be deleted yet because there isn't a rules check yet. Alliance is going to give Antilamon plus 0 DP, because Lotmon has 0 DP now, but it's still going to get the security check. And so now that Alliance has finished resolving, there's going to be a rule check, and Lotmon is going to be deleted by game rules and sent to the trash. And so now our Antilamon is attacking for 4,000 DP. However, it still has the 2 security checks. Because even though Lotmon was deleted by game rules, that's after Alliance completed resolving. And so Antilamon will keep that extra check. And then one final scenario here is if instead of attacking with Antilamon and triggering its Alliance, what happens if we give Alliance to Lotmon with its effect, and we decide to attack with it. So we're going to do that. We're going to attack with our Lotmon. That is going to immediately trigger Alliance, and it's going to get the minus 4,000 DP from the Rapidmon X-Antibody. So before Alliance can activate now, Lotmon is going to be deleted by game rules and go to the trash. And now when the Alliance effect tries to activate, it doesn't see anything. The Lotmon is no longer in the battle area where Alliance was triggered, so we can't activate Alliance anymore, and the attack ends without the attacker. So as you can see, there are a lot of complicated interactions, especially in the Dog Bunny v Dog Bunny mirror match, that you need to look out for. All right, so the next ruling I wanted to cover with Rapidmon X-Antibody might not come up as often just because it usually involves stacking DP reduction. However, it's something I wanted to bring up just because it is certainly unintuitive and it can be really impactful in certain matchups. So just to set the scene, we're assuming that we have 3 Rapidmon X-Antibodies here with their all turns effect active because they have Rapidmon or X-Antibody in their source. And our opponent here has a suspended tamer, and they have a suspended Magnamon X-Antibody that has immunity until the start of their next turn. So while it's suspended during our turn, it isn't getting the minus 4,000 DP from any of our Rapidmon because it's immune from the opponent's effects. However, when the turn switches to our opponent, even before anything unsuspends, Rapidmon X-Antibody's effect immediately applies, and there's a rules check. So because we have 3 Rapidmon X-Antibody, that means that Magnamon X is going to get minus 12k DP, and it's going to be deleted. And now, since it was deleted by having 0 DP, all of our Rapidmon X-Antibodies are going to trigger their second all-turns effect to gain memory. So let's say if we pass to our opponent with 1 memory, those are all going to trigger, and we're going to gain 2, 4, 6 memory and be at 5 memory, all before the unsuspend phase happens, and then end of turn procedures will start happening immediately in the start of turn timing, even before unsuspend. So the turn will come back to the Rapidmon X-Antibody player, and none of the opponent's other Digimon or Tamers will unsuspend. So this Tamer will stay suspended, and then Rapidmon X-Antibody will go on to just keep their turn and keep going. In fact, even if you have something like a promo, or not a promo Louis, the new BT16 Louis, which is a memory tamer, Any on deletions or start of turn effects that happen during that rules check with the Rapidmon X-Antibody. So we'll see. This is the start of turn. So before this triggers, we're going to delete the Magnamon X-Antibody for having 0 DP. And then that's going to trigger our Rapidmon X-Antibodies. But there's a specific rule that says if something triggers because of this rules check, then it's going to trigger simultaneously with any start of turn effects. So we have our start of turn memory setter. So even if our opponent started at 1, they're going to go up to 3 because of their memory setter and because they're turn player, so they have turn player priority. But then still, the Rapidmon X-Antibody effects will all activate, and so they'll gain 6 back again, putting us back to 3 and stealing turn back again before the unsuspend happens. So it's very important to know that even before things unsuspend on your opponent's turn, Rapidmon X-Antibody's effect is going to apply, and it can still delete stuff if it had immunity and lost it, or it had extra DP and lost it because of the turn switch. And especially because of the memory gain effect, it is entirely possible to gain your turn back or steal turn before anything unsuspends on your opponent's turn. So definitely something to be on the lookout for and to know in case your opponent is playing Rapidmon X-Antibody.
And that will do it for BT16. Lots of nuanced interactions going on in this set with the powerful new secret wares and all of the new DNA Digivolution cards and mechanics like partition. But hopefully these videos helped you understand them a little bit better. And as always, if you have any more questions for me about BT16 or anything I might have gotten wrong in the video, I'm more than happy to address them in the comments below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. EX6 is less than a month away now, so be on the lookout for that video coming up soon. So thanks again, all of you, so much for watching, and I'll see you then.